Mr. Gaming Counselor. Check out Joker. Check out Joker. Dark Side Royalty. You should check out Dark Side. I don't know how many times I've seen comments like that where people are like, Mr. Gaming Counselor, you sound like Joker. I'm like, who's Joker? Who are you? Who? Are you an owl? Who's Joker? Not that Joker. No, not that Joker. I can't do a Joker laugh. Anyway, subscribe. That's right. Just like the Joker, I got the gat. Better watch. Yeah, subscribe now. Scholars, become a scholar today. We don't hold. We hold hostages in the counselor's office. That's right. It's kind of funny because I do joke with my students saying, "Hey, the bad kids, we'll take you down to the dungeon." They're like, "Wait, we have a basement?" I'm like, "Yeah, we have a dungeon in the bottom of the school for the bad kids." So you're about to go to the dungeon. That's right. And I don't mean like Destiny dungeon, like fun times. It's just nothing. It's sadness down there. So subscribe or you go to the dungeon. Okay. Anyway, scholars, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. These intros are just becoming very convoluted and random as hell. But here we are. Here we go. Never expect me to ever do a good, serious intro ever. What the? Huh? One of these things is not like the other. What happened? Hello, game. What is going on? Okay, so that's working. What is this? Oh. Okay, technical difficulty. Okay, again, never expect a serious intro ever. Don't even know why it just decided to flicker off. But here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we're watching a video by Dark Side Royalty, Destiny crossover Star Wars, a microtransaction wrapped exit strategy. I've heard so many people say, you remind me of Dark Side Royalty, and here we are. We're going to actually watch a Dark Side Royalty video. Yeah, I mean, obviously, a lot of people generally agree with whatever he's saying. We're going to jump into it, see what they have to say. I don't think I've ever watched a Dark Side Royalty video. It's a first. So we're trying to branch out and watch new people and see what they have to say. Okay. That is, I believe, a copyrighted video. So or song, it's copyrighted because Borderlands has it. And I got copyright strike doing one of my videos. So I'm just going to. Cool intro.
Ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, Joker back again once again. And today, people, unoriginal, derivative, and about damn time were the first impressions I got from the Destiny Year of Prophecy reveal. Metroid.
Oh, okay. So he's giving his thoughts on the reveal. Okay. So this would be interesting. A lot of people talk about how he gives similar thoughts like I do on Destiny. So it'd be interesting to see what he thinks of the reveal. We're going back, baby. We're going back to a month ago.
Morph balls and other puzzle mechanics seemingly take the place of new subclasses in their Metroidvania-style DLC. But hey, at least this time it's actually Metroidvania instead of just saying it's Metroidvania, like with Episode Revenant. This DLC, you can...
They did say that, didn't they? Or like, it was Metroidvania, but it wasn't even Metroidvania. It was more like Castlevania. And even then, it wasn't even like Castlevania. Like, I don't know, they hype up a lot of the episodes and it was nothing like they said it was going to be.
Really see the copy paste. So, hey, progress. But we as Destiny players already know that Bungie really enjoys their copy paste.
You know what's sad is that he's missing some of the blues too, because I'm pretty sure there's a blue version. But yeah, guys, it's a new gun. We gave it a new paint job. Isn't that great? Now, let's be honest. Like Diablo does the same thing. How many times have you seen a similar weapon and it's like the exact same thing? Like this is not the first time we've had games, but Bungie does do it to a higher degree that just makes you shake your head.
even when the assets aren't their own. The Marathon Alpha released recently, and its environments are covered with assets lifted from poster designs I made in 2017. Oh boy, that does not look good. And hey, while this video isn't necessarily about this particular instance of Bungie's, what's the best way to put this? Coincidental copy and paste of other people's, work. It should at least be something you keep in the back of your mind when it comes to the idea of Bungie being able to create new and interesting ideas. And speaking of Bungie's new and interesting ideas, while I watched the live stream with...
Is he going to do it? Is he going to make the reference like I did? Is he going to make a reference to the Warframe expansion that came out before this?
Bated breath and hype in my heart for Bungie's next year of Destiny, I couldn't get over the very sneaking suspicion crawling up the back of my spine. I'd played this before. Was this merely a case of some ADHD-addled, energy drink-fueled deja vu?
Yep.
Maybe it was just a glitch in the Matrix. Was I experiencing the fabled Mandela effect in real time? I wonder, I sit here all a wonder. And yet, why does all of this seem so painfully...
Because it's literally copying the emphasis, like the whole thing about Warframe. It's funny. They literally stole the train going back in time, everything. It is not even inspired. It's literally the same concept, which is so fucked.
Excruciatingly familiar, but not earned. Why are my
I saw some ass.
Pattern recognition senses tingling? Look, I'm just saying, if I have to make out with this 9-to-5 tech support nerd squad Bungie employee self-insert Timu Gordon Freeman looking motherfucker to save the galaxy.
I even say he looks like the guy from Half-Life, Timu Gordon. Guys, we're making new innovative characters. Just like we're making Star Wars, we're innovating Half-Life as well.
Because
next, I've not seen this. I didn't get that far enough to see the lesbian makeout.
Love is the antithesis of the indifference. Also, Lloyd, really? Little on the nose, don't you think? But I digress. Now, remember when everybody on the always amusing Twitter.com believed that this New Frontiers DLC would take us outside the Sol system to seek out new life and new civilizations and boldly go where no Guardian has gone before?
So that was a fucking lie.
Yeah.
Not the first time Bungie has said something and never followed through with it. We could have a list of times that Bungie has said that they're going to do something and it never fucking is done. Ever at all.
We won't be doing any of that. Something, beware over delivery, something. What we are doing is we're going to Kepler. No. I know what you're thinking. We're not going to Kepler 22b, but to 1134. A stony asteroid and eccentric Mars crossover from the asteroid.
Why does part of me like cynically feel like this was what we were going to do? And then Bungie realized that is too big of what we can handle right now. So we're just going to make up some bullshit excuse and make up a whole different world. That way we don't actually have to think about it. Even though I don't know why it would matter. Like, why is... I think there would be a lot of change they have to do. Like, we're going to a different universe. We have to customize a whole nother universe and try to figure that out in our UI. Whereas if it's in the planet, still within our solar system, we could just put it somewhere in the corner of the current UI. I don't know. Bungie is very contradicting of themselves.
Asteroid belt. At least I assume that's the Kepler they're talking about, because they do make it sound like they're just talking about something they made up for the Destiny universe.
It does seem like it's made up.
The place that we're going to is called Kepler. And so you may be saying, now, Allison, hold your horses 1 second, because the Kepler...
Also, can we just talk about how the skybox reminds me of the final shape? Like in the background where you're getting ready to fight the witness and you see from the back the darkness pouring out. Yeah, I don't know why I'm getting the same vibe here, but we know we're not going to get anywhere near the same threat level as the witness. So it's like, bullshit.
No, is the one that's way outside of our galaxy. What do you mean we're going to Kepler? And I say, like, dear friend, didn't you know if you look inside in Destiny's universe, the Oort cloud at the edge of the solar system, you'll find a little planetoid that also happens to be named Kepler here.
I'm the narrative lead. I often say a lot of bullshit. and it's bullshit. Instead, I could have just simply, instead of doing water gurgle, mesh, I could have just said, we're just making a new planet up because it's Destiny and we're kind of doing our own thing. So we're going to the Kepler that we made. Instead of just doing this really convoluted marathon of words.
Here in the world of Destiny. And that's where we're going, to Kepler.
Here we'll have inscrutable eldritch beings from the void seek to manifest themselves into reality.
Thanks, kiddo.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Warframe narrative comparisons, which I'm sure are just a mistake or a coincidence in a long line of coincidences, or more likely the result of outsourcing the narrative to a third party aside, which I mean is totally what happened.
There is no such thing as a coincidence.
There's not really much to talk about the narrative of Fate because they simply didn't reveal a lot. There are a handful of things that I did think were neat, like the new enemy types, but we'll talk about that later on in the video. And while Fates or Renegades, the second DLC, will not be taking us to a galaxy far, far away, Renegades will allow us to wax lackadaisically about an era gone by when two sci-fi franchises used to actually be good. And it'll do so with licensed...
I think this is funny because it's two shitty genre or companies now coming together to make probably one of the biggest shit stains in Destiny history. I think it's funny that people are like, it's just inspired. Guess what? Inspiration, you don't have to get copyright rights for inspiration. If it like that, if that would be the case, then Power World would have been sued over 1,000 times just based on the fact that it's pretty much Pokemon with guns, but it was inspired. They actually have the Bungie and Lucasfilm's logo. They had to get the physical Lucasfilm's rights, which implies it's not just inspiration. You're actually using copyrighted material from Lucasfilms. This is definitely a Star Wars expansion. In fact, they even updated the logo. I don't know if you'll talk about that, but they updated the logo to be Star Wars. Let's not shit and then eat and be delusional about it.
DLC. If you're looking for anything resembling an original idea from your next two Destiny DLCs or marathon,
You've come to the wrong place.
as the first DLC, Fates, seems to be a derivative-laden rehashing of Warframe 1999, and the second is a licensed Star Wars crossover.
It is.
They're really...
Again, inspiration. You don't have to pay for copyright for inspiration. It is a crossover.
Isn't an original idea in that studio, is there?
Nope.
However, I digress. So, in this Star Wars-inspired expansion, what will we be doing? Well, stop me if you've heard this one before. We're gonna jump into the lawless frontier and dive into the mysteries of a new dredgen in the Sol system. I feel like...
Yeah, we've had that when the season of the Dredgen, was it? With the Gambit, like Reckoning and Gambit Prime. It was about the Drifter and his background and just the whole thing about, even had a cutscene of the Drifter fighting a Dredgen. The whole thing about Last Word, Thorn, and Lumina, all that jazz.
But that's kind of below our pay grade at this point. And hey, look, I'm not saying everything has to be an end of existence universal threat, but this isn't even like city level. This is like Shaxx takes...
This is like Marvel with their side villains where they're trying to make, after doing Endgame, and now they're trying to do all these like mini things and they're coming up really shitty villain. And they're like, what? It's not even a good villain. Like, where's the threat level here? Like, it's a guardian. It's because that's what they are. Dredgens are just essentially evil guardians. Wow. I'm sure that's great. I'm sure it's not going to be Darth Vader.
care of hordes of these dredgens on the weekend between Crucible matches problem. And if longtime fans of the Destiny franchise are getting a sneaking sense of deja vu, it's because we've kind of sort of already done this. It was more or less the narrative backing behind the Thorn, Last Word, and Lumina quest lines that are now in the Destiny content vault. Now, ironically, keeping in with the theme of there being absolutely no original ideas coming out of Bungie, the Thorn and Last Word quest line has always been derivative of Star Wars in a kind of sort of we know that they know that they know that we know kind of way. But at least in the past, there was this veneer of obfuscation, this plausible deniability where they could go, you know, it's just kind of inspired, but it wasn't so on the nose as to be a licensed crossover. Now, I'm gonna be real, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be real honest here. In my experience, when an MMORPG starts doing wacky, crazy aesthetics or licensed branded crossovers, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign at all. That's kind of the canary in the coal mine, because not only are you destroying the aesthetic of your game and your world that people fell in love,
you are creatively bankrupt, and you're also trying to get a cash grab. The Star Wars themed expansion is just to try to get people who don't even fucking play Destiny to play Destiny and to milk them and then move on to the next thing, where all those people will just dip out. They're going to buy a product, play it, and then leave when they realize that that's not what Destiny is it's not all Star Wars. That's what's going to happen. You're going to have the casuals come casually play, and they're going to dip out. But Bungie doesn't care because they just want the cash.
With garish, out-of-place cosmetics, but it reeks of desperation. But again, I digress. So where was I? Oh yeah, Star Wars crossover. The blurb for this is kind of hilarious and sad at the same time. Dive into the criminal underworld and take down an evil empire, venture into a lawless frontier, and reveal deeper mysteries about a new dredgen in Seoul.
Evil empire. What the fuck does a dredgen have to do with an evil empire? It's Darth Vader.
Build your power, credits, and notoriety.
The Emperor.
i.e. grind bounties and be comedically amused as nobody seems to know who you are, even though you're the savior of existence. And yes, TV exists in the Destiny universe. Crucible matches are televised. The news is a thing. So is the internet. The player character should be the most recognizable person in existence. It's like I said, taking out a dredgen is a little below our pay grade. But Joker, I hear you cry out in your shrill tremulous voice. We could just be in disguise. We could be incognito. If I was a dredgen, I'm this evil son of a bitch. And
No. We're going to be dressed up as Darth Vader and General Grievous and Stormtroopers. They're never going to see us coming because it's not even Destiny.
I'm ruling a criminal empire, an evil criminal empire. There would be a no helmet rule. Simple as that. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's called common sense. Now, of course, there are ways that they can justify this, like, oh, you're in the past. But that would be kind of dumb. This is probably the spider calling in a favor, and he's like, hey, could you go kill this cabal? That's this criminal overlord that just kind of reuses the Callus model. I wonder if they'll have sexy awoken silly me. I answered my own question. This is Destiny. Of course, that's not going to happen. Yeah, personally speaking, I'm probably not looking too terribly forward to this crossover. Now, that could change. They could show me something that I'm like, oh my God.
No, what you could expect is Cabal sex. You know, they're not going to do sexy ladies. They're just going to have old men making out robots, and now Cabal are going to have sex. You're going to have two Cabal making out. Isn't that amazing?
God, that blows my mind. But as is, But Joker, I hear you cry out in your shrill tremulous voice. So every other live service game is allowed to have collabs with other franchises except Destiny? You can literally be Nicki Minaj in COD, by the way. I want you to come here. Closer still.
Yep. Yeah, something to add to the whole Nicki Minaj situation. It's not just even that. Like, there was finishers where you would finish, like, assassinate a guy, and it would have a actual unicorn fart out a rainbow to kill someone. I've never seen so many people upset about Call of Duty, but it is ridiculous the amount of bullshit that games are putting in recently. It's breaking all just aesthetics, and it's just Fortnite-ification of every video game. And it's happening to Rainbow Six. It's happening to everything, and it just sucks ass. Because it's just a way to cash in. That's it.
even closer. Yeah, that was dumb too. I'm
Yep.
glad we're on the same page now. Look, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, it's really hard to get excited about something when everything that you've seen is just a hodgepodge of other companies, brands, and people's ideas.
Yep.
Like, what does that say for the future of the franchise, for the future of Bungie, for the future of Marathon, for their ability to surprise, delight, amaze, and inspire, when all they're doing is regurgitating other people's work?
Yep.
Joker! I hear you cry out in your social analyst voice. You're just being negative. Okay. Fine. I will give the positivity police a bone. There were some positives about this reveal. For starters, if Fortnite has taught us anything, it's that you can make your game a dumping ground for other IPs and make loads of money. Sure, it's a surefire way to fatigue your dedicated player base and destroy your aesthetic, the thing that they fell in love with, but
Here's the thing. No one fell in love with the aesthetic of Fortnite. No one. It was made for children. And the skins and all that stuff, no one ever cared about Fortnite because it's a battle royale. No one cares. It's not like this is their story, though it does have some story. It's not, people don't play for like some deeper narrative. They play because they hop on, they want to get the chicken winner dinner. They want to blow their load and, 360 no scope, build, mom's, retirement home and show off to the kids on TikTok and be the next ninja. That's it. No one gives a shit. They don't care. Oh, Master Chief, that's badass. Goku, that's badass. Because that's how this game is. That's how it's always been. It's been presented that way. Destiny has never been presented this way. Destiny has never been presented in the way that Fortnite has been presented. It's been a core story, and there's obviously transmog, and we've had some inspirations like the God of War Titan armor, the Witcher sets, which is not a 1-for-1. Mass Effect, again, not 1-for-1. Even the Fortnite skin is not necessarily 1-for-1. Like the Fortnite skin doesn't even look necessarily 100% like Fortnite, and it was still like tame to the options they could have chosen. Like we could have ran around as a freaking giant banana, but instead we have a knight skin. We have a cat helmet, which was all right. I'm trying to think what the other one was. It was just the Omega knight skin, which was all right. Like everything that they had previously that was inspired was okay because it still felt part of like the Destiny aesthetic. Whereas now we have 1-for-1 stormtroopers, 1-for-1 Darth Vader, General Grievous, Kylo Ren. Like I'm waiting for Dora the fucking Explorer to show up.
But I mean, it also draws in the casuals en masse, so there is that. It's almost pragmatic, and hell, as a pragmatist, kinda sort of respect it. After all, a trendy cash grab gimmick to attempt to garner or court the attention of a fickle mistress that is the elusive casual and or tourist is sure a whole hell of a lot easier than, I don't know, reinvesting in the new player experience and creating a game that people are actually excited to start playing without loads of baggage weighing it down. And let me tell you, as somebody who has recently replayed the new player experience for another video, boy, oh boy, is it bad. It's god awful. Playing that,
I plan to do that this summer, is to replay just play it out and see what the new player experience is all about.
that new player experience does not inspire a want to actually play Destiny. In fact, next to the price point, I would argue it's the greatest filter to getting players into this game. But hey, Star Wars. And just a reminder, these are the people that Sony spent nearly $4 billion to acquire so they could advise on how they run their other franchises. Which, if we're keeping count with Destiny, Concord, and Marathon.
At this point, Sony should have just tried to hire Epic Games, because Epic Games, no, Rockstar. You should have done business for Rockstar, because they know live service. Not only have they had a successful business model, a successful game for 15 fucking years, they've managed to resell the same game 3 times now. There was GTA 5, GTA new console, then the remastered or whatever, the enhanced version. There was so many versions, and it's been going for 15 years. And people continue to play. And guess what? I don't think they've had any layoffs. I could be wrong, but I don't think they've had any layoffs. Who would have thunk? Yeah, if I was Sony, Bungie's the last person I would be asking about live service. Rockstar is who you fucking look at. Epic Games is who you ask. Bungie's not one of them.
Thon. Bungie is a lemon, and if I was Sony, I would want my money back. Now, even though a cash grab gimmick is a surefire way to at least get
They're not a lemon, they're a potato.
eyes on your franchise, is that what we as players want? Don't get me wrong, the key has turned. This crossover is in the books. Nothing is going to stop it.
Nope.
You'd have to be delusional to think a little bitching on the internet would do anything. More so at this point. But as
Your money.
players, from a purely academic, canary in the coal mine, writing is on the wall standpoint, as people who have likely, hopefully, played other MMOs, it's kind of a tale as old as time. A franchise who is in its twilight years, dwindling in quality and popularity, whores itself out to other franchises and IPs. Not in a last-ditch effort to revitalize the franchise, but to milk it for all it's worth. I mean, think about it. We're jumping in the next saga of Destiny, and one of the first things we do is a branded crossover event. Taking on bad guys that are so far below our pay grade, it's not even funny. Like, really? Will I at least finally get a last word catalyst? Maybe they'll bring back the first curse. And even if we're not talking about the death of the franchise because cross-pollinations from other franchises, as we've seen with so many MMOs in the past, do we really want Destiny to become the next Fortnite, the next Call of Duty, the next Halo, with garish, out-of-place, immersion-breaking cosmetics, and themed licensed DLC? Do we really want to see the game we love or loved become a
Yes, there are brain-dead, dumbass morons who are salivating at their buck teeth. Yeah, give me that star shit. That's right. I want to eat that shit. That's what they want. They want this shit. They do.
dystopian IP dumping ground, devoid of creativity and originality, all while Bungie jumps from trend to trend and rips this, that, and the other off of other IPs, other franchises, and independent artists, instead of, you know, what they used to do, which was innovating. But Joker, I hear you cry out once again! Destiny's already done crossovers with The Witcher, God of War, D&D.
Okay, so let's be honest. Again, I don't see one for one. Do you see one for one? I sure don't.
God of War, D&D.
D&D, we have literal dragon armor already. In fact, I think this came out either before or after Season of the Wish, when we had the dragon armor. And it's like, it's okay. Like, I think the cat one is a little bit more egregious. The hunter one is a little bit more egregious, but like, we are talking about a fantasy world where we fight fucking dragons looking like a dragon. Probably not unrealistic. Probably not.
Mass Effect, Star Wars, the first time around, Ghostbusters, and Street Fighter. And you know what? You are absolutely positively right, oh contrarian commenter of contrarian comments. Bungie has already started soullessly whoring out the franchise, but there are degrees to this. Here, it just seems like Bungie has jumped the shark. A proper back-to-basics space western where we hunt down a dredgen, even though that should be far below our pay grade, and we've more or less already done that before, sounds fun. More so if this is like the first time in the history of the franchise that we actually get to fight an NPC human guardian. Sounds great, amazing. I'm excited for that idea on paper, though watch the new dredgen be a dread or a fallen captain or a centurion or
I think it's I think they're gonna die. I think what's gonna happen is they're gonna be like a mech suit or at a ship, and then the final kill will be on a cutscene. Bungie lacks the capacity to make a real Guardian fight. The closest we ever got was Hive Guardians, and that's it, which really sucks. Which is also why Witch Queen was an absolute banger, because it was innovative in the actual enemy department, because we had Hive fucking Guardians.
taken care of by Shin Malphur off screen again. But when you take
Yeah.
that idea of a space western and you smear them in Star Wars vibes like you just stole them from an independent artist on Twitter, then throw in some Darth Vader cosplay running around, what you have is an immersion breaking mess. Like I said,
Yep.
there's layers to this. Like an onion, or ogres. Moreover, as we keep coming back to, what does this all say for Bungie's ability to surprise and delight moving forward, to be a cut above the rest, to be leaders in an industry, the leaders that Sony believed them to be when Sony spent $3.8 billion with a B dollary dues to acquire them. It's really not a good sign when Bungie, this sacred cash cow, is following all the same trends and slop content models as everyone else. And again, following, not creating, not innovating, not doing something fresh and
I think that's a very fair argument to make a point of, is that Bungie isn't being a leader, they're being a follower. Marathon is just literally a trend chase. Nothing about it is leading in the industry. Destiny is not leading in the industry. It's just surviving. It's not thriving. It's surviving. Destiny does nothing that makes it stand out to the wider gaming community to make it pop out. It is 100% just surviving.
original and creating new spaces for content. Following. What does it say about the future of Bungie when everything that Bungie revealed for their primary money-making franchise is nothing more than a hodgepodge of other brands' gimmicks and ideas? And yes.
I never took a moment to say that this entire gameplay,
What does it say?
this entire gameplay of like the Metroid ball is so fucking bad. They're going around missing, like hitting these targets when you could just probably one-shot most of this with your abilities alone and or just a gun. Like they're showcasing this ability and it's fucking ass.
Say about the future of Bungie when everything that Bungie revealed for their primary...
This is garbage. It is fucking ass. All this shit would be dead if you used a fucking gun or even your abilities.
money-making franchise is nothing more than a hodgepodge of other brands' gimmicks and ideas. And yes, for those of you who want to be somewhat pedantic, I understand that there's nothing new under the sun. Everything is a copy of a copy of a copy. But I would hope we can all agree there's a categorical difference between being inspired by something and just kinda sorta filing the serial numbers off. The DLC so far looks less like Destiny and more like, how many of my viewers play Dungeons and Dragons? Let me know in the comments below. Have you ever had your DM start reading a new fantasy series or watching a new show, an anime, movie series, whatever, and you kind of notice the campaign changing? All that stuff starts leaking into your game, and your game becomes less Dungeons and Dragons and more like really bad fan fiction.
Are we playing your fanfic of Mistborn?
And it's so freaking sad because it doesn't have to be this way.
Which is what Echoes was. Episode Echoes was just bad fan fiction of like abusive lesbian abuse. Like literally the villain, the worst thing she did was abuse her lesbian lover. Murdered her. Psychologically abused her. It was just insane. I was like, what am I listening to?
Wait, Destiny could have easily been the next World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy XIV. They literally just chose not to. And by they, I of course mean Bungie management, the gift that keeps giving. This management wouldn't know how to develop a good game if a good game came up to them, dick whipped them in the goddamn eye and said, this is how you develop a good game!
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
But hey, those have been my... Oh, wait, I forgot about the positives, didn't I? While I could very easily just make that the joke and end the video here, there are some positives.
That's where I'm making the joke. I'm ending here. No, sure.
However, all those positives do come with a caveat. That caveat being, of course, that most of the positive things do fall into the, well, I guess better late than never category. The new weapon rarities and tiers looks interesting, and it looks like people who care about that sort of thing will have something new to grind. Also, sprinkled throughout the presentation, we saw hints of at least a couple of new enemy types. Now, of course, it remains to be seen how impactful these enemy types will be to the overall gameplay and how much they'll change that.
If it's like Episode Heresy, I hope it's very innovative, because Episode Heresy, the one thing that it did right was reshaping the Taken and making them actually unique and actually change the faction up. And I thought was just fantastic changes. So my hope is that the Fallen get the same treatment, because the Fallen have been the same since Destiny fucking 1.
But at least it's something.
If you're not including the splicers, right? If you're not including the splicers who are a little different during Rise of the Iron, the Fallen have been pretty much the same.
And then, of course, last but certainly not least, there's Armor 3.0. First things first, I am likely setting myself up for disappointment, but, well, take a look at this. Melee character stat. Reduces your melee cooldown. Increases the amount of energy from all sources. Enhanced benefit. Increases the damage done by your melee attacks. There's no qualifier there, so I assume, for the sake of argument at least, that means in both PvE and PvP against players and AI. Could OHK shoulder charge, if invested into, be back on the table? Of course, as we all know, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, if they don't give me exactly what I want, the DLC will be shit. No. Who am I kidding? The DLC was going to be shit anyways. OHK shoulder charge would just make it bearable. Oh wait, I forgot. There's people who don't understand sarcasm, so for the sake of the internet, that was a joke. Duh.
Yeah.
All in all, and I know it's probably overused to say at this point, but the presentation was a mixed bag. There sounds like there could be some really cool stuff in there. Like how the roadmap says we're going to go back to the Plague Lands, which in my opinion, probably should have been a major DLC in its own right, not some Star Wars crossover, but details. My hope, of course, is that the new content model gives Bungie the room they need to breathe and create quality content, but there's also points of concern when it comes to their ability to even be able to create or be original. And you know what? Come here. Closer. Again, closer still, even closer. I want to make sure that everybody understands this. I do not blame the rank and file. I don't think the rank and file want to be bound by the confines of a Star Wars crossover that will erode away the identity of a game that they've been working on for years. No, I think they've been put in a really shit situation by Bungie management, and they're just making the best out of it. Bungie management, on the other hand, wants to make a quick buck. They don't care. They couldn't give two shits and a fuck about this game. They don't care about its originality. They don't care about its longevity. They don't care about what the state of the game will look like in 2 to 3 years from now. They could care.
That's because they're probably going to dip out and take all that juicy Bungie money. That's probably exactly what they're doing.
Less. They care about short-term goals and short-term profits. They would slit the throat of the golden goose and shove their grubby little hands down its throat if they thought for a second that would get them a golden egg just a little bit faster. That's how short-sighted they are. Of course, we all know that's not how it works. You have to build trust. You have to nurture your franchises. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Remember to like, but only if you did. Subscribe for more. Feel free to donate to my Patreon.
All right, yeah. Links will be down below for you, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate that ass. The links will be down below for you. I appreciate you guys. I agree mostly what you said. A lot more sarcasm than I usually do, because I'm usually pretty blunt about what I think. So a lot more sarcasm. Definitely different style of critique than me. I think I'm a lot more brutally blunt. That's the difference. If you like sarcasm, it seems like there's a lot of sarcasm here. But for me, I'm just like, bam, there it is. That's me. I do my skits, obviously, and that's where some of my humor comes from, or my stupid intros. But I agree that Bungie is just copying people at this point. I mean, even the skimmer itself, it took them long enough to do that, right? And the skimmer has always been a thing in Warframe. It's not called the same. And it does seem like Bungie is taking from other games now and other IPs. And that's probably been something that's going on for a while, because let's be honest, they steal from other people all the time. And I say other times, like every other year that something's getting stolen from someone and it comes out in the news. It feels like we're on a train of, okay, this time of the year we're going to have this. This time of the year is going to happen. We stole this art. And someone made a good comment, like, this is all we know so far. There could be other things that have been stolen that we don't know. And that's very true. For all we know, Destiny is littered with Easter eggs of find out who stole what art and from what game, play that game. But overall, you hate the driver, you love the game. And that's the emphasis of what I get from him. And that's how it is for me. You love the game, you hate the driver. And people, I love how he just calls people out, but wait, but why are you so negative? Because maybe the fact that Destiny has more negatives to it right now than positives, that's kind of what happens. Because, you know, it makes the job of being a critic harder if there's nothing to actually criticize. But because Bungie continues to produce these things that are easy to criticize and fair to criticize, it makes being critical happen more often. Fucking duh. Anyways, thank you for watching. Hit the like button and comment down below. Show the videos a like. I'm not signed into my account, but like and subscribe to his channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Until next time, bye-bye. Huzzah.